Welcome, beloved. Good evening, good morning. Feet.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi, feet.
Hello, everybody.
it might, it might be worth just noticing if there's any like waiting for something, any kind of like it's quiet, but it feels like also there's some flavor of like not just like looking for something, or at least to my perception, maybe that's useful.
Yeah, sure. Notice also.
Yes.
You in before, yeah.
And it's all okay, it's fine when there's some kind of a waiting, or but just it's good to notice it. Yeah. Great feat.
Thank you. Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Esther. My screen is pretty full, and so if you raise your hand and I don't see you, just, or somebody sees a raised hand, please just let me know. Ina, I saw that hand.
Isaac. I like to sit with in presence.
Yeah, I love it.
As presence.
Yeah, so welcome. Resting like this, is there any problem anywhere?
No.
Nothing, yeah. Nothing, yeah.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, sweetness. Just beauty.
Thank you.
Excellent. Yes. Rainer.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi, Rainer.
I'd like to sit with you in silence too.
Yes. Very, very welcome. So there's the activity of observing.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that activity is doing its thing, whatever it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's awareness of that activity. Usually with that activity, there's some sense of being the observer,
Mhm.
but really there's just awareness of that activity. That activity is going on, and it seems to give some sense of control or some sense of
So it's even deeper than observing, huh?
exactly.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
Being aware of the observing that happens.
Yes, and just in the sense, it's like just very gently noticing that observing is like a kind of a habit.
Yeah.
It's just a habit. You could say
Mhm.
that it's but really getting fine with noticing what does that habit bring actually, and is it possible to rest just deeper than that habit?
Mhm.
Because that habit's been, like I can say, it's just been an old friend, or it's being conditioned, but it gives some sense of doership, some sense of
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. Nothing wrong with it, nothing
Mhm.
right with it.
Mhm.
Just it's worth exploring and just seeing what's deeper. Yeah. And what's deeper, you can't even, it's like
So finally, there's nothing to do.
finally there's nothing to do.
Okay.
Mm. Sure. Judy,
Thank you.
thank you, Ren.
Mm.
Mm. Slowly.
Hi,
Hi.
hi everybody. You need to speak a bit louder, so I still see.
Okay. Okay. Did
Yes,
that do it?
yes. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lou.
Thank you. I'm still waiting for you to tell me if I'm doing it right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hey, Sylvie.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
Would love to rest with you also.
Yeah. Beauty.
Thank you.
Hmm. Eva. Hi. I don't hear you for some reason. Are you still muted?
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm on my phone, but I think it works. Yeah.
It works. It works. And I see you.
When I sit with you, I can feel, yeah, how everything dissolves. There's something on your screen.
Just love.
Yeah, I can
Well,
also feel that. Hmm?
Yeah. It's okay, you speak.
Yeah, I just that I feel so much appreciation for yeah, for knowing you, whoever you are. But yeah, just yes, just that that's also something, just a role that you have, you know, in my life. Um,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you.
I like your background.
Pavitra.
Isaac,
Hi. Hi, Pavitra.
I would just like to rest with you.
With pleasure. Yeah.
I'm curious, Isaac, how does my system feel for you?
Yeah, just a deeper and deeper relaxing into being, It's just like,
Any shifts you notice from?
oh yeah, there's always these little shifts that go on while we're sitting, but yeah, it's that which is aware of the shifts, and that is beyond all of the shifts and beyond everything. So
Anything that stands out since I moved?
not at this moment. It's like there's that capacity of discernment that is natural to awareness, that just when it's you could say it's functioning, just allowing itself to go deeper and deeper, then it's just in its natural function. It's just noticing anything, any involvement, you could say, and just letting it go, letting it. Yeah. But without trying to get anywhere, it's just, natural. Thanks, Pavitra.
Thank you, Isaac.
Great. Anka. Hi, Anka.
Hi, Isaac.
Anything you'd like to speak?
Yes, what I saw in the last weeks, this was a very subtle movement, or not so subtle, to control life, to control what is, and so I could see it, and at the other hand, I was not able to stop it.
Yeah, because it's that activity is the activity. It's tied to that activity of observing, because then it feels like there's an observer, but then there's a deeper resting. That's that observing function just as doing its thing. It can observe, but you could say that there's something that just recognizes that there's nothing wrong with that observing, that there is no observer, there is no one there to do anything. There might be, like an activity of trying to control, but there's nobody doing it. It's just old patterns playing. There's nobody there that is doing any of it. It's just like, it's all tied to that habit of observing, like observing, and then somehow with some idea behind the observing of right and wrong and good and bad and special way to be and all that. And deeper than that, it's absolutely silent. There's nothing. There's no observing can happen, but it's just not that interesting what's being observed. It's just much more interesting to rest way beyond all of that. And that's not a doing. There's nobody that does that. There's just a recognition that there's a subtle effort going on, in trying to control, or, all of that. But nobody's doing it. It's just old survival mechanisms or old information, you could say, that just functions that way.
Yes, it felt like this, like in old information, what was running,
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Anya? And Sylvan after Anya.
Can you hear me?
I hear you and I see you.
Great. I just wanted to also say hello.
Yes, hi Anya. Good to see you.
Yes, and it's so wonderful because for a long time I didn't notice that you were having these meetings, and I'm now so happy to do this on my Sunday morning.
Oh, fantastic!
Wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, to me, such a beautiful to rest as a sangha, and just really just this time is just for this, just deeply exploring and being.
Yeah. And I noticed that I'm so deeply connected to you, and it's like all this eternity.
Yeah.
The feeling of that whatever happens, there's something that's always there. And this connection is also reminding me of everybody on this planet, that wherever we are sitting, it's all so close. It's all inside.
Yeah.
So wonderful.
Exactly.
Nobody could ever take this away,
Exactly.
whatever the circumstances are.
Yeah. Even in these crazy times that are going on the planet right now, I mean, it's like really extreme. And yet this is untouched.
Totally. And I have moments where I had lots of fear coming up, definitely here in Germany. And now it feels such a space. I mean, since a while, it's been really going into this space that, funny enough, it's funny because my system used to be always tense. That's like, I know moments where it's less, but there's a kind of anxiety in my system mostly.
Yeah.
And since the world has become like this, it feels like I relax more because it's so absurd.
Far out. And you know, just for fun, to take it out of the context even of my system, and I relax.
Yeah.
This system and relaxing happens. There's nobody, you know, it's like it's yeah. So it's just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and since somehow there's like a collective tension, I feel much more relaxed. I mean, this my system seems to freak out somehow, but the other space gets wider. The more crazy things are, the more I'm the space of it. It feels like this huge space is the reality that is.
That is, yeah.
That is me, or that is everything.
Yeah.
And it helped me a lot to not live in this normal setting, to live in more craziness. It was a huge help to my system.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I just, if you on Facebook, you can, I just put a post up what's happening in South Africa, which might interest you. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in connection with a few people in South Africa, and yeah, it's interesting how, and to me it's always like, since I don't have a normal life here anymore so much, since this all is happening, I'm very much on my own, very much just in my own field. I feel as if I'm even now sitting in South Africa. It doesn't make a difference. There's no, I don't experience a pure sense of I'm in Germany. It's like I could be wherever. The space is moving around me. And so it's also this South African thing where there was always something like missing it. I felt not home when I'm in Germany. I felt I'm not home in South Africa. And now it's like I am this home. There's something moving. And so also that connection, it's almost like it's so oneness. This oneness is just so beautiful. But I'll check Facebook. I'll have a look.
Yeah, if it interests,
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Sonia.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sylvan, and then after that, Marcus. So Sylvan, you now?
Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
I don't know. I think I'd like to rest, and but I have a curiosity. Could you talk a little bit more about the observer or the non-existence of observer?
Yes. So in just in this moment, like the senses are perceiving, And then there's usually that automatic interpretation of what's being perceived, which is going through our conditioning and our trauma. And then there's like so you could call that process. If there's a deep resting, there's just light coming in, there's just information coming in, and there's no putting it together and making it have any meaning whatsoever. That activity of giving it meaning, nothing right with it, nothing wrong with it, but it's conditioned, it's going through filters.
Mhm.
So just resting like this, like a young child that gets conditioned, put on them, it's like, otherwise there's just flow, you could say, like that. So in that activity, it seems like there's someone there, there's an observer. And if you look, all you can find is the activity of observing. There is no observer, there's just the activity of observing, which gives the sense or illusion of an observer. And that activity is appearing in awareness, space, whatever you want to call it. And there's no, like the conditioning has been to be involved in that observing somehow. But as observer creates the sense of observer and observed. So there's distance, you could say, and then a need to control and defend and all that stuff. It doesn't exist if that activity quietens.
For me, when I observe, often what happens when we start to rest, at some point there's the observer, but it's this strain observer that interprets everything and so on. So, and then later,
exactly,
the resting becomes deeper than that.
Yeah. So, and that, like the conditioning and belief that there is an observer usually doesn't get ever questioned or looked at. Just like, oh yes, there is an observer, there is an I here, there is a sense of me here, but it's so tied into that activity. When that activity, like in deep sleep, when that's gone, there is no one.
Mm.
Or when it gets really quiet, I mean, it's just the boundaries, a sense of distance, observer and observed, just disappears.
Mm.
From the perspective of the sense of an observer, there's this idea that we are in control and that we need to plan our lives and get an idea of where we're going and all of that stuff. But it's like
story of my life.
But like I love the example of like a lot of these fairs, they have these rides for young kids where there's like a track with planes and trains and cars on that little track, and they've all got steering wheels, but the steering wheel isn't attached to anything, and the kids love to sit in there and grab the steering wheel, and the ride goes around and they come to the end of it, and there's been that fun of holding the steering wheel. But it's like man, yeah. If we really look, our lives just happen, and
yeah. it's so hard to believe that there's no space for planning at all somehow. That it,
Yeah, planning, no problem with planning. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's you know that activity to plan. It's like, you know, we go to the supermarket and we think, what do I need at home? And I mean, it's functioning. It's a capacity that exists. You know, it's like, oh, how much petrol is in the car? Do I need to put more in, and how much money is in the bank with what other, you know, with what's going on, all that kind of stuff. But it's like those are all little activities on the surface, in a sense, you know, that don't need to consume our consciousness. It's just like, in a sense, yeah.
thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, thank you.
You look great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks. You too. Marcus.
Hello, Isaac.
Hey, Marcus.
Oh, it's so good to sit with you. I experienced a lot of tension the last days, and there was always the idea that other people in my work or the government, the administration, they don't respect my boundaries. So in a way, I felt that my place was in danger. But at the same time, I could see that the idea of a boundary is just an idea. Yeah, there is no boundary, but at the same time, I could see that it's not a good idea to get forced to have a jab.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is like that amazing paradox.
Yeah.
It's like there's your own knowing, and then there's a yes or a no. It's like yes is yes and no is no, just like that. And yeah, it's I mean, there's huge court cases going on at the moment because there is no informed consent, and they say, look, it's not mandatory, but you lose your job if you don't. There's so much bullshit going on around it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, some people are going, look, I'm not playing that game. You know, it's not worth it to me. And in Australia right now, you know, I don't know if you've seen this, the top male tennis player in the world.
Yeah.
Was coming, yeah, and then they told him, yes, you can have an exemption. And when he arrived, yeah, they said, no, you can't. And so they've got him in a hotel somewhere. I mean, totally nuts. It's nuts what's going on. But he's not, you know. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to say, look, you can't come if you don't get a jab, but another to say, yes, you can come. And then when you get here, say, sorry, no, we've changed our minds. That's, yeah.
Yeah, we have made a strong decision not to accept this game.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
So,
The more people that stand up, the easier it makes for everybody else. It's you know, it's you know, whether some people believe in it and they think it's a good thing to do, great, then go ahead. It's not a problem. But if you really sense it's not right for you, and you yeah, for some people it's like, well, you know, oh, I need to feed my family or whatever, it's I need to compromise. But yeah, it's such a strange time.
yeah.
It's creating a lot of difficulty for people.
Yeah, and I can see more clearly where my interest lies. So in the past, I had a lot of interest in getting a good job and in enforcing my career and so on. So this interest is really, it's losing energy a lot.
Yeah. And then, you know, it's like, I don't know how long this thing is going to last, this whole craziness, because there's a lot of challenges at the moment to what's going on. And at some point, my sense is it'll turn around, but who knows? We'll see. Yeah.
But it's so good to have the Sangha and to have these hours a week and to focus.
Just rest again and come
Rest
away from all
again,
the stress and all that stuff. Yeah.
I stayed with Gaia for 5 days, December and January, and it was so good to rest in this and remember what it's really about.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Isaac. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Marcus. Antje.
Isaac, can you speak?
Sure. Did that work?
No. Yes.
Still not. Okay, great.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi, Antje. You feel something just softened and got.
I don't understand. Can you repeat?
Could you notice that something got softer and got more
Yes.
easy? Yeah. How beautiful.
Today there was a little activation, but it's not such a problem. But yes, it's so fine to sit. Yes, and what I can sense, it's going deeper and deeper.
Yeah, there's no end here.
Yes. Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you, Antje. Mahima.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
You are looking really good for the
Thank you.
couple of weeks. And the colors, I have to say, because I've done this kind of work before, the colors you're wearing, the charcoal and the green, really good colors for you.
Okay, thank you.
But you look just really vibrant and healthy too.
And my body is doing all kinds of weird stuff lately, so it's amazing.
Go figure, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
I feel so at peace. Just, yeah.
Beautiful. And that, as you've been speaking tonight about the observer in that deeper place, and I get that, really get that. It's kind, and I've tonight and even today, whenever it's just a very different. I mean, not to judge it or anything. There's just this, I don't know, stillness or peace,
Rest, that's deep
rest.
resting. Yeah.
And then everything is there. I mean, and yet nothing's it's like
I've heard when other expressions who've been in this exploration really deeply speak about, like, there's awareness of the world, but it feels like a dream.
oh yeah.
So, yeah.
That comes to me often, even when you're awake, asleep, and then you awaken. It's like those two are blending more now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing that I don't sometimes raise my hand just to say, I want to sit with you, because whoever you're with, it's like, in some ways, I don't feel I need to do this and say, I need to sit, does that, and I'm like, and yet it's lovely to connect, but I can't say I'm not connecting. And even there's people in the Sangha. So I get awake in the morning maybe, and I'm just getting quieter, and or if I need a little help or something, I say I. But if it's a little disturbance in the system or something, you may pop out often, but sometimes it's just there, it just comes in, or I see somebody in the Sangha that is really still. So I don't, in a certain sense, there's no differentiation, or even if somebody's in disturbance, but if they're really connecting, even that, right? Am I off with that, or no?
No, not to my scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I don't raise my hand, it's not because usually when I raise my hand, I'm having a little trouble with some disturbance, but I love sitting with everybody, and I usually have it on speaker. Sometimes gallery, I like just maybe somebody I connect with, or I say somebody. It's like I can start to come here to this space the nights you're on, for me, night. And it's just pretty instantaneous. It's just here, the peace. So I really appreciate you, and keep your body going. And we don't have any control. I know. I don't mind. This one's not doing this. Has odd things too. So it is what it is, but the peace.
What it is.
The peace is the beauty, yes. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Marwa. Judith.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi, Judith.
Yes, there you are.
Thank you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I hear you and I see you.
Very interesting to see the movements of the someone who believes in any kind of effort or something.
Mhm. That which is aware of that.
I can see this movement in me that I'm not trusting myself as the pleasure that I am. I don't know how to say it.
So that not trusting, yeah? Is that something that you would consciously do?
Oh.
No. So slow it down. See, just that not trusting. Just say, see if you can pick up, because once you see it's not you that's doing it, there's just some kind of energetic pattern or filter, whatever you want to call it. Just see if you can locate. So gently, just one way to describe is some old information that's trying to protect or something like that. But you could see it's just, what do you see when you slow it down like that?
As you said, like very old information. And it's definitely linked to how my father related to me. And not to me as Mira, but to me as life.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Yeah, and just seeing that whatever that old information is it relative to this moment? Is it still necessary or useful in this moment?
It's not.
No. Beautiful. That's all. That's enough. And then leave it. It's got noticed. It got explored. Beautiful. Just sensing when we rest now, what's the same, what's different?
More at peace.
More at peace. Beautiful. With no effort, and really just taking a look here. Beauty.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Bas, for hosting. Thank you all for showing up. Love, peace, beauty.